All right, so let's see how we could use the HTTP session we just learned, right, to implement a login register, right, using a session. So first we'll need a user model. I think we already have one from a previous assignment that we have username, password, last name, and first name. We probably have that already. And so first let's look at registering. Notice that we're mapping to post mapping, just like the assignment said, right, /API/register. Right, and we're passing along a user object, right? That presumably it's a JSON representation of somebody having filled out the user form, right? And us grabbing and creating a JSON object and then posting it to this URL programmatically from jQuery or React. We can either one. And then here, what we're going to do is that grabbing the session, we're just going to we're going to say, we're going to store it in current user. Right? Also, notice that we're going to add it to a local array of users. We just want to keep track of every user who has registered. Right? But we're going to remember that even though that array is the same across all posts, it's the same. It's only one array. Right? We can keep track per session who's currently logged in. Right? To know that you has just registered. And I sent the cookie to this browser, and you just registered, and I sent this cookie to that browser, right? And the two HTTP sessions, for those users, they're both logged in their sessions, right? So there's a current user here for that cookie, and there's another current user here for that other cookie. So there's two current users, one in each HTTP sessions. Make sense? Right. So let's do that. Let's see where we are here. So indeed, we do have a user object, which is a Java bean, very good. And we have a user service that we had played around with retrieving all users and whatnot. So let's extend this a little bit so that we have here a post mapping that post mapping mapped to API register, and that this has a public user register that receives here a user object and receives also an HTTP session object. Okay. We're going to need to extract the user from the request body. So this will be request body. And what we might want to do here is we can echo just the user, I guess, for now. And we want to keep track of the currently logged in user. So we'll say that this is a session and say that set attribute and that this is the current user is user. All right. Probably the only thing we really care about is really the ID of the user, right? Not all the other stuff in there, right? Probably just the ID, so that we can perhaps go back to the server and say, does this user actually exist in the database? And it says, oh yes, this user actually exists. Okay, good. So this is a valid user. Plus, we are adding it to an array of users here. Let's change this perhaps to say that this is a list of users. I want to have to update this. So this is a new array list of user. And we can say that users dot add Alice, and this would be users dot add Bob. And that's array list. There we go. And this needs to return an array of lists, a list of users right there. Oops. There we go. I think that's it. Okay, so that's register. Let's try it out. Let's see. Let's restart. Oh, we didn't do that, did we? Yeah, we didn't do that. So
we might want to say users dot add the user to the list. Plus, let's do the to see if anybody's logged in. Who's currently logged in? We might say post mapping. Is anybody logged in? Right. So logged in. And so this might be public user logged in. So this thing would allow us to do such a thing as asking not only are you logged in, right? Maybe there might be some web pages that you can only navigate if you are logged in, right? So maybe going to a profile page or going somewhere, right? It says, well, I need to know who the current user is. You can go to all these pages are publicly, but not the profile page. And so this would return the currently logged in user. For this, I'll need the HTTP session. And retrieve the current user from the HTTP session. Get attribute, and this is the current user. This might be null, right? So I probably want to perhaps put it in a variable to check to see first if it's null before trying to cast it. Return. Oh, yeah. Thank you. There we go. Yeah, so let's try it out. Let's try that out. So let's see. We can do a postman here, and say create a brand new request here, and it'll be, I'll save it there. It'll be http:// oh wait, no, this is register, just called register. And so save it here, and in register it's going to be a post, and the body is going to be raw, and it's going to be an application JSON, and the username is username is Alice, and password is rabbit. So let's see. Yep. So it's post. I'm going to send, and URL is empty. So what should that be? That should be http:// localhost 8080/API/register. Save. Let's try that again. All right, so it looks like it worked, right? It sent over the object. It's echoing back the object that came back. I didn't pass the first name and last name. Very good. So I'm going to clone this, duplicate, and I'm going to call this logged in. So this is logged in. I want to go and fetch to see if anybody's logged in. Logged in. It's a post. And notice that it comes back with Alice, right? It sees that, yep, Alice is the currently logged in user, so it has been saved to the session. If I leave it like this for more than 30 minutes, it'll come back with null. It says, nope, there's nobody in the current session, right? Equally, I can create this and put a logged in. Login. I want to create login. Basically what I want to do for login is see if the wait, what? Login conflict. What? Whatever. Login. I'm going to post there, and I said this is my username and this is my password. I want to iterate over the users that have registered, and I'm currently in my array of users, and see if there's a match. Is there anybody with that username and that password? If there is, yep, now that you're logged in, right? In separate sessions, right? One session per query that comes out. So in login, I would pass in the same body. I want to log in with Alice and Rabbit, JSON, very good. And for login, notice that if I try that now, right, it's going to complain saying there's no such mapping for API login. So let me go back to the server, and on the server we can do that, right? We can do the post. We can say post mapping for API login, and public. If I do find a user, so login, then I'll return the user. Otherwise, I'll return null. So nope, I can't find any user logged in like that. And then I can update that in the user in the front end, right? So I'm going to retrieve the object that you're passing to me that is going to contain the username and password, and I'll need the HTTP session request body, and here I'm going to try and I'm going to iterate over those folks, right? And I'll say, for user in users, and this is new user or login user, and I'm going to iterate over the current users that are now in my database. My database being this gorgeous array, right? And I'm going to check to see, right? So if a user dot get username is equals a login user dot get username, right? And so the same thing for password. So this was user dot get password is equals the login user dot get password. Wait, what? Oh, dot get password. Right? If that's true, then I'm going to return the user, or I'm just going to return null. Right? Meanwhile, before returning the user, I'm going to make this the current user. Right? So this will be session dot set attribute current user the user. Again, the only really thing that I care about here is the ID of the user, right? The actual instance doesn't matter to me, right? What uniquely identifies this user is really its ID, their ID. Okay. All right. Excellent. So login. If we restart that, if I restart, the sessions are gone, right? Every time I restart, any remembrance of anybody having ever registered or logged in or anything, everything's gone. So here, if I log in, if I try to log in here, and Alice, oops, no message. Uh-oh, what happened? I probably got a null pointer. User service login 32. User get pass. Oh, user equals. Okay, so this, what is null? One of these is null, right? What could be null? What could be null? What did I pass here as an argument? Username and password. So that should be okay, and that should be okay. What is that null? Get username, get password. I guess we could put a breakpoint here and restart as a debug. The constructor? Username. Oh, what? Really? But still, yeah, but I have setters and getters. The setters and getters should have done that. Setters and getters, because I'm not using the constructor at all. Here? Oh, these guys over here. Thank you. Wabbit. Love. Does that match? Username, password. Okay, so let's try it again. So let's run this. Let's debug this. All right, so let's see. I'm going to register, and I'll register as Charlie or Dan, and Dan. Send. So I'm registered as Dan, and I'm registered as Poe and Poe. Send. So these two are now registered, and if I then try to log in as Dan, and I send that. Okay, there we go. So we're stepping through this. I'm just going to continue, see if this dies. Okay, that's all right. That seemed to work. All right, so it comes back with Dan as the currently logged in user. So if I ask who's logged in, it says Dan, right? But if I go to log in and I try to log in as Poe, right? So I ask who's logged in, Poe is logged in, right? So I can use this API, right, to be able to add folks, remove folks, register, and remember who's logged in, right? Plus, we could go a little further, and users can contain courses. If I'm a faculty, I could say that these are all the courses that I've authored, so authored courses, right? And I can add courses to this so that if I'm logged in, I can see my courses, and if you're logged in, you can see your courses, right? And we could we can extend this as far as we want, right? Any questions? Yes. It gets created when the cookie is parsed, and you find an HTTP session. If it's already created, it just uses the HTTP session that's already there. If this is a brand new cookie that there's no mapping to it, then it gets instantiated. Yeah, it all happens behind the scenes. Yeah. Say again. Yeah, it won't find it, so you get a brand new session, completely brand new session. Yeah, as if somebody else was there. Yeah, as if some other browser was being used. Yeah. Yes.